Hello and welcome to this video. Weird open this time. It's because I'm sitting on my bed right now finishing my bellish sweater. I am probably about an hour away from finishing this sweater. I am extra pumped about it, but right now it's difficult to see as it's like very much still tied to it's got the needles at the top, so it's not like normal sweater looking. Let's see if I put this down here. Bad angle, but this is what we've got so far. You get the gist of the neckline. Either way, I am just sitting here watching a movie for a class and taking notes and trying to finish my bellish sweater all at the same time. So hopefully here pretty soon I will cut to a very, very happy me wearing the bellish sweater pre-blocking. I don't know if I'm gonna block it. I'm gonna try it on and I'm gonna see if it looks cool. And if it looks cool, I'm not gonna block it. Cause like, what a waste of my time, you know? I mean, okay, if anybody who's ever made a sweater watches this video, they're going to post something in the comments about like why I definitely need to block it. But if it looks cool, why would I block it? So we'll see, because I really want to wear it tomorrow. I could just block it after I wear it tomorrow. If it looks cool, we'll see. I don't know where to put this on this sweater. Okay. I'm finished. This is what my bellish sweater looks like now that I am finished with it. I am so happy with it. I don't think I could be happier with it. It turned out kind of exactly how I wanted. Towards the very end, I did end up bringing the mock neck up about a centimeter, maybe a little less than that, past what it told me to on the pattern. It told me to knit 2 inches or do the rib for 2 inches. This is a 2-inch rib. This, I don't know if you can tell, is slightly longer. That is pretty much the only thing in the entire sweater where I changed the pattern. I did run into a couple of odd pattern hiccups, which I'm going to talk about after I kind of finish modeling this sweater. These are so far my favorite pants to wear this sweater with. It tucks in relatively well. So this is, I made the crop length. It goes down to about here without, so sometimes I'll tuck in the front, untuck from the back, just depends on how I'm feeling, but I adore this sweater. I adore the yarn that I chose, and I really like that I was able to go to the yarn store, see the yarn, think, okay, I don't have a sweater pattern for this size yarn, and then subsequently think, oh, but I can produce one with this app. That's honestly the main reason why I used bellish, is because I found the yarn before I found the pattern. I almost always find the pattern and then get the yarn that I want based on what the pattern calls for. But this was nice because I got to pick the yarn out, say I want a sweater made out of that yarn, and then bellish designed the pattern for me with that in mind. I'm so inspired by this and how generally easy it was and simple it was to follow the pattern, that I just want to make sweaters all the time. I don't need that many sweaters. So I've got like 3 friends who are all just saying, you know, oh my gosh, make me a sweater. And I'm like, okay. So I'm really excited to try new things. Next time I would like to try the 3/4 length sleeve. I would also, for me personally, maybe I would like to see how a smaller size fit, if maybe I could wear it to skate in. It also might be a good idea if I would next time extend the turtleneck and make a full turtleneck, especially if it's a tighter silhouette. I wouldn't mind that. I think that would look really nice. So maybe a 3/4 length sleeve with a full turtleneck, a size smaller, maybe also narrower yarn. Narrower, you know what I mean, just the thinner yarn. This is DK, so it's pretty thick, it's pretty chunky, which I do love, but I would love to see what it would look like if I made one with smaller yarn. On the whole, I'm so excited. So I'm just gonna cut to me sitting down now, talking kind of just through the pieces of this app that I did and didn't like. Okay, so here are my general thoughts about the bellish app. Overall, 5-star experience. Really enjoyed knitting the sweater. Obviously, I got what I wanted out of it. It's exactly what I've been looking for. The app was extremely easy to use. It has checkpoints so that you don't kind of forget where you are. It also reminds you to check your stitch counts. It has a little stitch counter on the app. I didn't use it, but I might have if I had not just had paper and pen like handy all the time. Bellish also has a function where you can copy the exact pattern that you're working on and then slightly edit it. Like, I mean, basically you can make a copy of the pattern and then edit that pattern instead of going back through the entire process and remaking the whole thing. That way, you know, initially I started off with a turtleneck and a 3/4 length sleeve, but then when I realized it was going to fit me more oversized, I just copied the pattern, and because it hadn't come up in my knitting yet, I just copied the pattern and changed the sleeve length and the neckline, because mostly just to see, like, did I have enough yarn? And so you can make the copies of patterns and change as you go and make sure, you know, it'll tell you how much yarn you need for each different change. So that was definitely really helpful for me. And just in general, the instructions were pretty easy to follow. I only had a couple times where the instructions were misleading. There was one section with the increases where it forgot to put stars between the section that you needed to repeat. So it just was very confusing, but because I know how it works, like I know how to increase on a sweater, it worked out, because I knew better than to think that there were just no more increases left. I also had an issue with the sleeve length. So initially when I started knitting here, so I picked up the sleeve right here and it told me to continue decreasing until I'd reached 18 inches. I didn't really think about it. I just was like, okay. So I basically knitted 18 inches of a sleeve, got down to the 40 stitches that I needed to in the decrease. But if you'll look at my arm length, I'm already at 12 inches right there. So if I pick up, this sleeve is 18 inches total, not 18 inches before the rib. So I knitted 18 inches, my sleeve was this long, and then it was like, okay, add the rib. And I was like, it was going to be past my fingertips. I had done the decreases to meet at 18, so I took it all off. And I could have just had like a slightly less narrowed sleeve, but I really wanted to do it correctly because I wanted something to base my next sweater on. And so I wanted to make sure that I had everything exactly right, so that when I was looking at this sweater, first of all, I spent way too much time on it to have like a fat sleeve that I didn't want in the first place. So took the whole arm off, redid the math for how quickly I was going to need to do the decreases. Instead of every 2.5 inches, I did every 2. And then I did the rib where it was supposed to go, and now I have a perfectly length sleeve. And I know some people might want it like a little farther back, like maybe more back here, but I like it when it covers my whole wrist. Like I like it when my arms hang down. If it's just about this long, that's perfect for me. That's kind of how I like it. But basically that was really the only pattern related issues that I came across. So I would say, just for any measurements, check it over yourself and make sure that's the size of your body. It could just be that most people who wear the size sweater that I wear have longer arms than me, maybe because it's a standard size. So you kind of have to alter it to you anyway. Also, I already mentioned this, but the only other place that I changed the pattern was on the neckline. I just wanted it a little tighter than it was. So I bound off half of it, looked at how tight it was, wanted it to be tighter. I think I knitted like an additional 2 or 3 rounds up on the neckline and then finished there instead. So that had nothing to do with the pattern being incorrect, more just like personal preference. I wanted it to be taller. The only other thing about bellish that I would change is I would have liked to have been able to print the pattern. I love having patterns, you know, like in front of me to just mark off myself. I can cross out sections, and even though the app did have checkpoints to make sure that you didn't accidentally redo sections twice, I like keeping counts of rows and stuff like that a lot. And I did anyway. Like I would just write row 1 on a piece of paper, row 2, but it would have been nice to have like a real piece of paper. Also, I do enjoy knitting and, you know, being away from the internet. So I like knitting and leaving my phone in the other room or watching a movie and not letting my phone get in my way. But if my knitting pattern's on an app, the likelihood of me getting distracted by my phone, even though I know it's a willpower thing, I know I could just very well be like, oh, I'm not going to answer that text right now, I'm knitting. It's much harder though, because if I'm doing a pattern and my phone's right in front of me and it buzzes and I look down and it's a text from someone I do want to talk to, I'm going to get distracted and I'm going to do that. And I'm not saying this is the app's fault, but I am saying I do like to have my patterns in a paper form so that I can escape the internet if I want to. But that's obviously not a big issue. That's a personal thing. I even started to type out the whole pattern and then realized it was going to take me forever, so I just finished the whole pattern on my phone. But this really gave me a very good, like I mentioned, I'd never made a full normal sweater before, so this gave me a very good understanding of how a raglan sweater is produced and how sweaters just in general are made, starting from here, not the neckline. Like I would have assumed that I started up here and then knitted down. That's not what happened. I started here, knitted down, added a sleeve, and then went upwards from there, which is not what I expected. So I'm really super happy to have just learned more about the form of sweater. You know, now I can add to it. Now I can, oh, you know, next time I'm going to make a different color neckline and a different color sleeve and a different color sleeve and have it be color blocked. You know, I can change whatever I want because now I have a basic understanding of how it works. So overall, super great experience with Bellish. I'm more than happy with the sweater that I got, and I don't imagine I will be taking it off very soon. I think I'm going to be wearing it pretty much all week. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it inspired you to start knitting. Download Bellish if you like what I came up with. You can come up with something completely and totally different for yourself. They have many more patterns than just the plain raglan type. I just wanted a very basic style to start with. So yeah, definitely check that out. It was super fun to work with, and I hope you enjoyed hearing about it. If you did, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.